Hello everyone, welcome to a new reading. Today I am doing a reading for 17. Someone asked if I could do a reading to see and check how S.Coups is doing right now that he has not been working because of his injury. And I was like, you know what? I've been meaning to do a 17 reading for this month, and I thought, that's not a bad idea just to check up how is S.Coups doing. So this is just going to be like a random question, something nice and quick. Well, I say that, but we will see when the messages go through. Just how is S.Coups doing right now? I mean, he's being on his own, probably has a lot of time to think for himself. What is S.Coups doing right now? Or like, how is he doing? We have the Two of Swords reversed, the Seven of Cups, and Temperance reverse, but I was gonna say temperament for some reason. So the Two of Swords upright usually talks about being between two options, so trying to make a decision, and it usually goes along the lines of like use your intuition to see past the surface level and being able to make the best decision for yourself. However, with this card reverse, it didn't feel negative, it didn't feel bad. So I do feel that right now S.Coups has like a goal in mind and he's not budging from that goal. Like there is something that he wants to do or something that he's focusing on. Let's say he's refocusing on just getting better or like physically trying to gain that strength back again and making sure that his body is fully healed or back to its 100% sort of energy. Like if he's focusing on that, he's like dead set on it. Like that's his goal, that's his focus, and that's what he's constantly working towards. So this Two of Swords reverse kind of felt like he's not indecisive about what to do as much as he has just locked into one decision. And it's just like there's many options on how he can go about making that goal or making that decision happen. So with the Seven of Cups, there is a sense of having multiple options. Some are good, some are bad. Being able to identify the potential paths that we have out there for us. So with these two cards put together, it's like S.Coups has a goal in mind. And he's not budging from accomplishing that goal. If anything, the issue is like what path or what actions do I want to take to reach that goal. So in this case, I do feel that he has a lot of options and he's not necessarily deciding should I do it or not, as much as he's just thinking what is the best approach to the goal that I have in mind. So again, this feels very good. Like I don't know if this is related to his health, then he's just like my goal is to get healthy, and the Seven of Cups is like, okay, but how do I go about that? Do I take these classes? Do I go to these places? Do I do these exercises? Like I think he's just kind of just thinking what will be the best approach for him, like which one will make him feel the most comfortable and the happiest. Now the other card that we have right here is Temperance reverse. So he may find it very difficult to be in full balance right now. Like I think he's not at 100%, but I don't think he's going through a super rough time. If I remember correctly, this mushroom can be used for some healing properties, or I could be confusing it with the Hermit card. But if that's the case, this kind of just shows that this card was reversed because S.Coups is not like health-wise, he's not like at his 100%, or he's not where he wishes he could be. Of course, if he wants to perform, he's not 100% ready yet, or else he will be performing. So I think that's why this card is reversed. Like he's not where he wants to be quite yet, or he's not in a place where he can continue working if he wants to do that. However, he is not, his mind is still pretty focused. Like it's still in a good place. I don't think he's super like bummed down or like pretty upset or sad about it. It's like a normal healthy amount of like he's not doing what he's used to, and that's why he feels like a little bit what a bummer, that's kind of sad. But aside from that, he's not going through like a super rough time where he is really into his head and he's really overthinking things or agonizing over something challenging and difficult. Like I don't think he's in that state. I think he's more in the state of like, I wish I could do all of these things, but I still have to get better, which I think is quite natural when, in this case, when you have an injury. Also, I wanted to point out that here we have a cardinal, which usually means like good luck when you see one, especially if you see a red one. So I do feel that in this case, he still feels pretty lucky within all the challenges that he's facing right now. Right now he's trying to recover, but I think he still feels pretty good about the situation he's in. Like, he's like, it could have been worse, or maybe he's thinking we caught this in time, or he's just thinking this is just essential for my well-being, so it's okay. So now let's just check how S.Coups is doing. Let's take out more cards. How is S.Coups doing? We have trust. We have peace, fear, mystery, and isolation. Which, I mean, it all makes sense actually that he's getting all of these cards. So with trust and peace being close to the Two of Swords, kind of shows that right now S.Coups is in a state where he understands and he trusts the process. Right now he's recovering, he's focused on his health, so he knows he's in good hands. He knows that he's listening to his doctor, following instructions. It seems like his mind is at peace because he knows that he's doing the right thing. He knows that he's following instructions. He knows that everything's going to be okay. He trusts that with time and effort, things will get better. So this in a way kind of tells me that he's not his knee injury is not too bad. Like, he will be able to continue doing what he loves. So right now it's kind of like, if he takes care of himself now, it's not going to be an issue later on, right? But if he were to ignore it now just so he can continue doing what he likes, then it could become a big hindrance in the future. So I think in this way, it's like I'm preventing a bigger problem by just taking a break right now. So in that sense, he trusts that he's doing the right thing. Now we have fear. Despite that, it doesn't, I do feel that this fear card kind of just shows that doesn't mean that he's not doing things that he feels a bit uncomfortable doing, or that doesn't mean that he doesn't have fears and doubts that sometimes kind of creep in, and worries that sometimes get in the way of just having this blind trust that everything's going to be okay and being completely optimistic. He's still human. So I do feel that this Seven of Cups and this fear kind of being aligned shows that he is aware of all of these potentials and all of these possibilities and all of these paths that could be very successful to his health, but at the same time it could be I just noticed that we have the mystery card, but there's also paths where things could get worse. So even though I do feel that his health is okay right now, he is in a very good, there's a very good chance that he'll get better. There is a chance that just because he's going to get better does not mean that his body will ever be at it's 100%, right? He's growing older, he does have a knee injury, and I do know that sometimes when you have injuries like those, you never fully recover. You just have to kind of adjust to that discomfort and to that pain. So who was it? I think someone mentioned that as you grow older, you start feeling the pains of past injuries. If you were very young and you kind of hit your finger or you stretched it wrong, well, you're gonna start feeling that pain when you get older, which that is very true. I hurt my ring finger twice while playing basketball in gym class, and that happened years ago. But sometimes there's times when I'm doing something and all of a sudden that finger starts not necessarily hurting, but it starts going numb a little bit. And that's when I kind of get these flashbacks of oh, that injury from back then. Anyway, I'm getting that S.Coups could have this fear where he knows that even though things are going okay, he may not reach that 100% of health anymore, and he will just have to adapt his life to this new thing. But also I do feel that it's just kind of a natural doubt and fear, because of humans' way, the way that we think as people. We always kind of go okay, worst case scenario. And I think that's just quite natural for him. There might be times that he kind of loses his patience, because he could be like, okay, I'm doing all of these things, but I'm not really seeing the results that I wish I could see. Or maybe he starts losing his patience because he's like, okay, I want to go back to my normal life and do the things that I want to do, go back to work and have my life back, or something along those lines. And that could bring him that could frustrate him a little bit. But again, I don't think this is his natural state. I think this is just that sometimes he reaches these points, which I think, again, it's pretty natural and normal. Then we have the mystery card. And being connected to the fear in the temperance reverse, I do feel that he, one of the things that brings him a lot of worries, or one of the things that kind of get him overthinking sometimes, is the fact that he doesn't really know the full, the end results of his efforts and his hard work. Like, he's trying to get better, he's trying to recuperate, he's trying to bring his health back up, but that doesn't guarantee, all the things that he's doing does not really guarantee that he's going to be able to reach his 100%, or that doesn't guarantee that he's going to get better quicker, or he's going to just get better to whatever expectations he has, right? So this mystery kind of shows that since nothing is for certain, he just reaches these points of discomfort, and these points of worry, and these points of fear, where he's like, what if it doesn't work out? What if what I'm doing doesn't pan out? What if I actually don't get better? Or what if it takes longer? Or all of those things, right? So even though he's trying to be patient, even though he's doing his best to take care of his body, sometimes fear kind of starts kicking in, and he goes doubts start creeping in and making things a bit challenging for him. But again, I think he just reaches those points sometimes, which I think it's natural. So it's nothing to worry about in that sense. Or I hope so. Anyway, the other card that we have right here is isolation. So the isolation just makes me think that he has been on his own for a very long time. And that could be getting to him, because I think S.Coups likes to be surrounded by the people that he loves. He's also used to being surrounded by a lot of people. So being on his own could be something that is a bit challenging for him. I don't think this is necessarily bad. I just think it's a little bit uncomfortable for him at the moment, because he's used to being surrounded by staff, surrounded by the group, surrounded by fans. So he could be a little bit, not overwhelmed, but I guess a little bit out of his element. He is a celebrity. He's been doing this for a very long time. So he kind of goes yeah, it's kind of strange to not be surrounded by people. So yeah, he's in isolation. So if anything, one of the things that I see with this card, I see it as someone that is being laser focused on a certain goal. So they're kind of ignoring the people around them, or ignoring their surroundings, because they're so laser focused in one goal. And I do feel that in this case, it's even if he may not really like to be alone right now, at the same time, he's so laser focused on getting better with his health that he has this tunnel vision where he's not really seeing his surroundings and just focusing on getting better, which could be good and keep staying disciplined with his workouts. But at the same time, if he reaches an extreme, it could put so much weight in results that it could be a little bit counterproductive in a way. So I hope that he's keeping this healthy balance of staying focused, but then not being too hard on himself if things don't pan out in the timing that he set for himself. In 3 weeks, I'm going to get better, or whatever, right? Now, to end off his reading, let's just take out some last cards here. We have co-create and chop wood. So with the co-create, that just means that he's been working with the people around him. Co-create is usually trusting in the process, trusting in the universe, trusting in the higher power, or his spirit guides, or something along those lines. And co-create is I think that's the card that has that line where it's if you take one step, spirit will take 10 towards you. So, and this goes very well with the chop wood card. I usually get this card reversed, so I usually know what that means when you're not doing what this card is saying. So upright, the chop wood one is kind of getting down to business, getting down to work, getting the work done, doing what is necessary to accomplish a goal, doing what's necessary, those building blocks that get you closer to your goal and to your purpose, or whatever you set your mind into. So S.Coups is doing that, and since he's doing that, he's co-creating with spirit. So in this case, what that means is since he's putting the effort, giving himself the time, and giving his body what's necessary to get better, since he's doing those things, Spirit will make sure that, let's say, okay, Spirit will make sure that he has everything he needs, he has all the resources necessary for his recovery, and that when he comes back, everything will be ready for him to just continue where he left off, if that makes sense. So what I'm getting at is, by him taking the effort to take care of himself, by him giving the time necessary for his body to get better, by resting, but also working in his recovery, he's taking that one step where Spirit can take these 10 steps of making sure that his career just continues taking off from where he left off when he's ready to come back. Making sure that he knows, or, Spirit is making sure that the people that are there are waiting for him. If that makes sense, like, that's kind of like the best way I can describe this feeling of, if he was worried of disappointing people, or if he was worried that people would have to wait for him to get better and recover, Spirit is making sure that those people are entertained, or those people are busy, so like that when he comes back, these people are able to welcome him with open arms, if that makes sense. It's this idea that everything will be okay and everything is going to pan out well. So there's nothing for him to worry. So the way that he's co-creating with Spirit is that Spirit is taking care of things that are outside of his control, so that he can work on the things that are in his control, which in this case is his health. Prioritizing himself, his health, his body, his mental state. By doing those things, Spirit is making sure that any worry outside of that, they can take care of. If that makes sense. So yeah. So how is S.Coups doing? He's doing great. He's human, so of course there's challenges and difficulties. Not knowing if what he's doing will pan out well. But at the same time, he's trusting that things are going to be okay and that his efforts are going to be rewarded. And in this case, it's like he's going to get healthy. Yeah, I do feel that he may be losing a bit of patience, and he's like, I want to go back to my normal life. I want to explore. I want to travel. I want to go to places, do things. I do feel that maybe he has felt a bit limited and constrained for quite a while, but he understands that it's for his health, and it will, in the long term, in the bigger picture, this is nothing, right? Like, recovering for 6 months may feel like an eternity right now, but in the long run, it will help him stay healthier for the next upcoming years, or something along those lines. So he's looking at the bigger picture. That's why he understands, in a logical way, he understands that this is good for him. But then from an emotional state, he goes like, but I want to do all of these things, so let me be free. So I do feel that's kind of where he's at right now. Nothing bad, nothing crazy. And yeah, it's all the things that I felt he was doing okay, but I was like, but we never know. Maybe the cards show me something that I'm not seeing as, like, as a person, as a fan. And of course, I'm not there with him, so I'm not over here like, so how you feeling, my dude? Anyway, I hope you guys like this reading. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this gives you a peace of mind. I hope that Johan and S.Coups take care of themselves. I know also Mingyu had a back injury, and for some time Seungwon was like taking a break as well. I think that all of that happened this year, so it's a bit unfortunate because fans are thinking of how the group is being overworked, but which I think is true. They're probably pushing themselves very hard because there's the end of the year awards, as well as all of their concerts that they're having in Asia. So it's been quite tough to travel here, travel there, perform constantly. But I hope they're having fun. I hope they're enjoying it. So it's worth it, But yeah, I do hope that they do take care of their health and themselves, because there's just so much the body can give, okay? The body needs to rest, so working constantly can be quite counterproductive for them. So yeah, I do hope that everyone stays healthy. I hope everyone is taking care of themselves. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one, whenever that is, however that is. Thank you for all the love and support you've been sending the group. Let's hope that S.Coups comes back healthy. Let's hope Johan comes back healthy. And let's hope it's sooner rather than later. But of course, I hope that they give themselves the time that they actually need to recover rather than just jumping back as soon as they can. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one, whenever that is, however that is. Love and healing from my part to you. And bye.